Billa sir, IAS Additional Secretary and Director General, Ministry of Tourism. We have in our midst today Ms. Anna Roy, Program Director and Principal Economic Advisor, Niti Aayog. And we have our very own Mr. Prabhav Joshi sir, IAS, Commissioner Tourism and MD TCGL, Government of Gujarat. From the desert dunes of Kutch to the deep blue and calm of Shivrajpur, from the sacred peaks of Girnar to the rippling waves of Daroi, every corner of Gujarat echoes with one call: come, experience the thrill of nature. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new chapter under the vibrant Gujarat Regional Conference 2025, where courage meets culture and adventure becomes the anthem of progress. Today we gather at Ganpat University, Mehsana, the land where knowledge meets innovation, to envision a future where Gujarat rises not just as the land of heritage and hospitality, but as India's most inspiring adventure tourism hub. Let's extend our warmest welcome to the dignitaries gracing this occasion, visionaries who turn landscapes into legacies and policies into possibilities. With heartfelt respect, may I request our Commissioner Tourism and MD TCGL, Shri Prabhav Joshi sir, to kindly offer a Patan Patola's shawl to our dignitaries, Mr. Suman Billa, IAS Additional Secretary and Director General, Ministry of Tourism. Let's put our hands together as we celebrate this moment. And this is a memento that will be etched in his memory forever of the most prominent spots in North Gujarat. And next, may I request Mr. Prabhav Joshi, our Commissioner Tourism MD TCGL, to kindly welcome Ms. Anna Roy, Program Director and Principal Economic Advisor, Niti Aayog, with a shawl and a memento, with our claps, because claps is a testimony to the fact that we are also a part of this jubilant celebration. And now, to set the tone for this morning, may I now invite our MD sir, MD TCGL, Shri Prabhav Joshi sir, to kindly welcome the dignitaries and set the tone of the event.
Can you load the PPT? Okay. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure and honor to welcome Ms. Anna Roy from Niti Aayog, Mr. Suman Villaji, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, industry leaders, to this zonal conference focusing on the northern districts of Gujarat, the vibrant Gujarat Regional Conference. Thank you all for making it convenient and traveling all the way from different parts of the country to share your experience and expertise with us. It's going to be a great learning experience for us, and also I'm sure that you will find the networking opportunities worth the visit. Thank you for joining us today. My job is rather simple, that is to set the tone of the further discussions here. Like we had a brief discussion yesterday, that Gujarat, we have many unique opportunities, many things which are found only here in Gujarat, but in the photographs or the items that I have listed, unfortunately adventure tourism or adventure tourism related activities are not finding a place. So we have the world's tallest statue, that is the Statue of Unity at Kevadia, which by the way has been developed as a holistic family destination where a person can spend 2 to 3 days doing a lot of activities. We have the only home to the Asiatic lion. The Girnar ropeway is the longest in the world. Ahmedabad was the first UNESCO World Heritage City. Talking about history, we have ports like Lothal and Dholavira, which are dating back to the Indus Valley civilization period. We are blessed with a long coastline, and beaches like Chorwad, Shivrajpur have all the potential to make it to any global destination. So I will share some photographs, very unique flora and fauna, including the wild ass, which is again found only in Gujarat. It's a beautiful animal with a golden patch on its back. The road to heaven that was very recently constructed, and it has also garnered a lot of attraction from youngsters. But again, we have not been able to really capitalize on that and convert it to a real adventure tourism spot. We started with some marketing events, some events called the Run for Run. But again, we have not been able to consistently cover that. Many activities were not eventually possible after the COVID era, during the COVID era, and then we failed to pick them up. So what we are talking about is how do we sustainably manage ecosystem of adventure sports and not just get limited to one-time events or a personality-driven approach in this sector that some enthusiastic offer comes or some enthusiastic minister or officer or some idea comes and we are able to do an event once or twice a year and then are not able to sustain it, because we also need to look at it from a financial sustainability point of view, because we are also answerable to a lot of agencies which would answer that why should we spend on such activities. Coming to the beaches, as I mentioned, we have all the beaches which are blue flag beach, especially the Shivrajpur beach, which is located between Dwarka and the Bet Dwarka. Natural landscape like the rock cut Kadiya Dhro in Kutch, so it would remind you of the Grand Canyon in US. So we have all the potential to be offering all the sort of a varied experience to the global tourists here. But as I mentioned that we have not been able to create more itineraries based on experiences. When I remember visiting Rishikesh, or when the first thing that comes to my mind in Rishikesh, have been there several times. Our training academy was located quite close. So the thing that I remember is that we did that ride in the Ganga River. So that experience is what defines the rafting, white water rafting that we did. That is the experience which defines Rishikesh for me and many other such places. My friend, I asked him, he told me that he is going to South Africa for his honeymoon. I was rather surprised by he was a person who could afford any place on the earth. So I was surprised by why out of all places you are going to South Africa. So he mentioned that they have a very good ecosystem for adventure sports like bungee jumping, etc. So these are the experiences which are the new generation is looking at. So how do we make a place or a project, not just an engineering project, and offer varied experiences to the travelers is the question and the challenge that we are facing. Being in the government for now around 11 years, it is now my understanding, rather a belief that executing engineering projects is little bit easy. So we have made many amphitheaters, but we have found it difficult to run or perform on those amphitheaters and keep that place lively. So this is what we have to offer, talking about the architectural marvels. Mahabat Khan Maqbara in Junagadh, which has been recently restored. Modhera Sun Temple again is a very beautiful site close by. So today, if you have time in the evening, there's a good light and sound show. Spiritual destinations, definitely because of the mythology and religious belief, people do travel and they do contribute to our major source of tourists like Somnath and Dwarkaji. Vibrant fairs and festivals are a hallmark, but yesterday we received many good suggestions also as to how to create food festivals which can highlight our cuisines. Garba is again a recognized UNESCO intangible heritage, and we recently I have now started taking it to the other states also. We organized events in Udaipur this year. Very recently, on 6th of October, we organized a similar event in CSOI in Delhi to showcase the experience of Garba. We started the training classes there, so people would join in Garba workshops before the event and then participate. So we have been able to showcase that through movies, etc. Also, we are also blessed with a rich heritage in arts and craft. Rogan painting, the Kutch embroidery has traveled the world. One of the approach has been to develop modern iconic marvels, be it the Smriti One Museum, which is dedicated to the earthquake survivors or other sufferers of the 2001 earthquake, be it Nadabet. So we try to create another Atari Wagha kind of place which is near Nadabet in Gujarat. So basically we have everything to offer, but again what is missing is the adventure tourism uh, landscape. What unfortunately has happened in Gujarat is that in the all major four metros, we have had some fatal accidents involving some ferry rides or an fire accident, and as a knee-jerk reaction from the regulatory authorities or the judiciary, the first reaction is to stop and suspend those activities. And once they get suspended, so we have issues like the nearby Nal Sarovar, which is a Ramsar wetland, 30 CR worth of projects with the decking, docking yard, with the jetty is ready, but now the boats are not ready because they have to be certified through a long process. So this is how unfortunately the adventure tourism landscape in Gujarat has suffered, in the sense that some or the other incident happens, and we just then stop it altogether rather than regulating it or promoting it. As I mentioned in the earlier slides in my earlier part of my presentation, that it is a very fast growing capital market. This sector is growing at a rate of 17.8%, and Gujarat and India as a whole will be at a loss if we are not able to tap that opportunity. What is important is that we have a demographic dividend. The incomes are on a rise, and the segment which is going for this adventure tourism is the one who is having higher disposable income. The incomes are again rising, and we definitely need to use the social media influence to attract these tourists to Gujarat and India. Now what we are going to do in future, what are our plans? In Dharoi, we have invested a huge amount, and we want to develop it as a premier adventure tourism destination. Dharoi, because in Gujarat we do not have any experience of islands, because island hopping is not a culture here as of now. So we are proposing, and the plans are on already. A lot of the project has already been constructed. The plans are going for island hopping. So from the reservoir, in the reservoir we are having certain chain of islands. So from on one of the reservoir we will be having certain good restaurant, some other island, then people who travel for adventure activities. In Run of Kutch also we have a lot of scope for hot air ballooning, etc. The terrain in South Gujarat is hilly, so paragliding, paramotoring and other activities can be carried out. Shivrajpur also we have developed recently at a cost of 200 CR. The beach development is over, and now we want to offer, because Shivrajpur being near Dwarka, people are interested in scuba diving, and because of the mythological link to the submerged city of the Dwarka. Statue of Unity offers already river rafting and jungle safaris, which was again a very exciting experience, because we had the same Vibrant Gujarat conference in Statue of Unity a couple of years back. So again, the only memory of that conference is that we did the water rafting there. We have some ecosystem in Mandvi beach and Girnar Hills, where trekking and rappelling activities are going on. As I've mentioned that still we are yet to finalize, or the landscape presently is tattered. It is not having any systematic structure to it. We would want that we have adventure-based activities, land-based activities, aero sports in a systemic manner throughout the year. One of the challenges that many of the destinations in Gujarat face is that they are seasonal in nature, because apart from the winter months, so there's not a even single person visiting Run of Kutch. So how do we ensure that people make it because of such activities? How do we make any destination a round the year destination? So this is one of the challenge that we are facing. Also, Nal Sarovar, Velavadar, bird watching, trekking, such activities can be carried out. As I was mentioning about the Dharoi project, it will have all the road infrastructure, it will have the tribal hearts, tribal villages, island development activities, adventure and recreational tourism, social infrastructure, and ecotourism hub. With the water-based sports, so the theme is Panchatattva there, which means all the elements of water, air, land, and fire will be there at this upcoming destination. We successfully we started with a very successful adventure fest in 2025, which was for 30 days, and we had a very good number of people coming there, and it was beyond actually our expectations. So plans are on that on these islands that you can see, we develop some good hotels. On the another island, we develop some other facilities to make the tourist spend at least a couple of days there. It is quite close to the religious circuit also of Ambaji, not very far from Ahmedabad. So this is what we are developing as future camping and glamping sites. Obviously, we will be interested in PPP, and we do offer long-term lease of land. So 35 years is permitted under our act presently, and that is under revision, and hopefully we'll be able to offer it for a further period of say 50 years. Presently also the land that is offered on right of first refusal basis. So if you are able to match the bid, then we give the tender, we extend the tender. So what we are looking at is that Adventure Tourism Act and guidelines are in place because of certain incidents that happen. That should not, the system should not collapse just because of that. And more and more bird watching and forest camping activities on the models of the Kabini National Park in Karnataka. The Run of Kutch, it has in the Little Run, it also has very unique flora and fauna. There are many such places where we are developing, especially in Mokar Sagar, again with the help of the SASKI funds. A big project is going on. It is also very unique ecosystem because the marine and the inland water that merges there. So similar to the Chilika Lake, there are certain pockets here which are very world-class destinations which can be turned into a very beautiful experience for the tourists. So when I talk about the infrastructure support, or rather the ecosystem that we are having, what we can offer you is incentivization through our policies. We offer 20% capital subsidy, which is quite high as compared to any other state. Also, we have provisions of viability gap funding in the areas in the upcoming tourist destinations like Dharoi. Initially, for example, SOU, we were paying certain VGF to the operators, and now since the destination has developed, we are in fact in a position to earn back revenue. So that is a clear policy. We have the experience of SOU, how it has in a very short span of say 6 to 7 years transformed itself into a global destination. We have land banks with us. We are aggressively working on the improvement of the wayside amenities, acquiring new land, and we now are working more like the industrial development corporations, acquire land rather than constructing a hotel on our own then operating it. Now we are in the mode of the industrial and development corporations like GIDC, the Gujarat Industrial Development Corporation, that we go to a good tourist scenic place, develop the basic road, water and such infrastructure, attract PPP partners, and we have successfully carried these activities in Ran of Kutch, the tent city, which is a very famed event, Ranotsav. Similarly in SOU also. So upcoming destinations, be it Dharoi or be it Lothal, where at the cost of around 4,500 crore rupees, the National Maritime Heritage Complex is coming. So we have very clear instructions from the top that a museum alone cannot be a tourist experience. So alongside Lothal, which is just 60 kilometers away from Ahmedabad, we would want, we have a entire gamut of activities, be it adventure sports related, be it cultural activities, be it any other experiential package that we can offer to the tourists. The homestay policy is also in place, and through conferences like this, we have the investor facilitation portal, in which the projects that are sanctioned after such conferences, they are monitored at the highest level and they are followed up on the single window system that is called the investor facilitation portal. So even at the district level, the collector would regularly review the outcome of the projects that are signed in conferences like these. So with these words, I invite you to develop a long-term stakeholdership with Gujarat. And again, I want to thank you for coming all the way, especially the dignitaries on the dais and all the CEOs and who's who of the industry and my team for giving me this opportunity. And I will close my remarks with welcoming you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. All that I could gather as a layman was Gujarat is a land that also makes donkeys look beautiful, and donkeys no more a word for somebody with poor brains, but something, a sight to watch, because that's rarity, as we call them, an ass there. Thank you, sir, for your heartwarming talk and a delightful presentation on the beauty of Gujarat. Now, as we speak of dreams and destinations, here's a visual journey into Gujarat's untamed heart. A film that captures not just sights, but the spirit of adventure, where wind, water, and wilderness together whisper, "This is Gujarat." Let's play a film on Gujarat's adventure tourism potential.
Are you done chasing deadlines? Tired of that same routine? It's time to awaken the spirit of adventure within. It's time to recharge, recall, rejuvenate. Welcome to Gujarat. A land where terrain transforms into playgrounds of thrill. From infinite deserts to high hills, dense forests, deep waters, and open skies, Gujarat's diverse region invites adventurers from across the globe. Land, water, and air, Gujarat offers them all. Scuba diving, snorkeling, river rafting, kayaking, trekking, paragliding, hot air ballooning, paramotoring, rock climbing, and many more heart-pounding adventures await you. And today, under the visionary leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, and with the continuous support and guidance of the Honorable Chief Minister Shri Bhupendra Patel, Gujarat is paving new pathways in adventure tourism, creating world-class adventure activities and emerging destinations that redefine thrill and exploration. So come along, let's take an adventure ride across Gujarat. Adventure on the waters. Glide through the serene Sabarmati riverfront in Ahmedabad with kayaking and cycling alongside its panoramic banks. In Vadodara, embrace serenity with sunrise kayaking. Surrender to the currents of Kalwani near the Statue of Unity. River rafting where adrenaline and unity flow together. Dive beneath the sacred waters of Dwarka to explore an enchanting world of marine life. Shivrajpur Beach lets you choose your pace. The calm of snorkeling, the rush of jet skiing, or the energy of speed boating. At Mandvi Beach, the sea transforms into a runway. Parasailing, sofa rides, and more, where exhilaration meets horizon. Adventure in the skies. Soar above the white run of Kutch in a hot air balloon, or carve through the wind with paramotoring, witnessing landscapes few ever see. Saputara's high hills invite you to glide where eagles fly with paragliding thrills. Dharoi, Gujarat's emerging powerhouse of adventure, offers the rare fusion of air, water and land pursuits. From speedboats to parasailing to aerosports, a new benchmark for adventure destinations in India. Adventure on the land. Scale Saputara's cliffs with rock climbing and rappelling, where stones become your partners in challenge. Trek through the dense trails of Polo Forest and Saputara, each step a communion with raw wilderness. Camp under vast starlit skies with Gujarat's eco-sensitive practices, ensuring that tomorrow's travelers inherit today's beauty. Because here, adventure isn't reckless, it's responsible. Nadabet, Pavagad and Madhapur are also fast emerging as Gujarat's upcoming adventure destinations, adding new dimensions to the state's thrillscape. Every adventure in Gujarat is powered by trained experts, cutting-edge equipment and uncompromising safety. So your quest for adrenaline is always backed by trust. With sustainability at its core, Gujarat Tourism ensures that every adventure protects nature while offering unforgettable thrills. This is Gujarat, where adventure meets infinity. Book your journey now. Feel the thrill firsthand. Gujarat, the new altitude of adventure. Are you done chasing deadlines?
Isn't it simply magnificent where Gujarat, indeed a land where adventure meets infinity? Well, now it's time to delve into a technical session. As they say, the heart of development lies in ideas that drive inclusive growth. We have the privilege and an honor to have with us Miss Anna Roy, IES, Program Director and Principal Economic Advisor, Niti Aayog. May I please request, ma'am, with your thundering round of applause, to share her insights on tourism sector as a growth driver, a template.
Thank you. First of all, thanks to the Department of Tourism, Government of Gujarat for giving me this opportunity. And also, I thank all of you like Prabal to have come all this way. This having so many of the stakeholders present gives us the hope that yes, one of the biggest growth drivers, which is the tourism sector, we are getting our act together. And going forward, there are big things to happen. Now, I'm coming from Niti Aayog, and I will be talking about planning. The guys who are implementing are sitting with me on the dais. So we are not really into implementation. I'll just give you a sneak peek on how we are approaching planning for the sector. And secondly, also, use this opportunity to seek consultation with the various stakeholders to come forward. And since we are doing this exercise pan-India, to come forward with your inputs, with your suggestions on how can this initiative be improved further. So in 2023, CEO Niti Aayog kind of envisioned this new planning paradigm where he felt that when we plan for our cities, it is more spatial planning. There is no economic angle to it. So, with that thought, a new planning paradigm called the Growth Hub Initiative for City Regions was coined. We did a 3-month research within NITI. Based on that, we came up with the concept on what this initiative, how should we roll out this initiative. So the initiative based on detailed analysis of 11 global cities who have approached a new way of planning, we came up with this plan, and 4 major mind shifts. First, have a proactive economic plan, have a regional plan. Rather than planning for your administrative cities, look at a region as the unit of planning. Then look at the institutional mechanisms. You know, when we speak about tourism, now tourism department scope is this much, but several other entities have a role to play, and if we work in silos, then the final product is not something which is desirable. And also have very aspirational goals. So with these 4 mindset shifts, we proposed a 5-stage project process, which said that focus on the 3 pillars: inclusive growth, so growth plus sustainability and inclusivity. And then the other thing was, do not have a one plan fits all kind of a thing. Have a regional base analysis. Based on that, identify the endowments, suggest growth drivers, then give aspirational goals, and end with actual projects, not just that 3 very very generic 60,000 feet kind of a thing, but give actual projects, and also suggest policy unlocks, so that those projects actually see the light of the day. So Surat was one of the pilot cities which was taken up. 4 were taken, including Surat, so that we could test our hypothesis for these cities and develop a process template. For Surat, we had the Surat Economic Region, which included, besides Surat, 5 other districts. And while Surat was the economic hub, at the other end of the spectrum, we had the district Dang, where economy-wise it was very, marginal compared to Surat, but it had a lot of potential by way of ecotourism and other such assets. In the endowments, and it's not surprising after hearing Prabal and watching this short film, tourism emerged as one of the biggest growth drivers for the region. And we developed the tourism plan as part of the Surat Economic Region, the economic plan for the Surat Economic Region. And what I'm going to present today is the approach to develop the tourism plan for this region, and compare it to another region where we have recently completed the project. This is the economic plan for the Bhubaneswar, Puri, Cuttack and Paradeep, which we call BCPPR in Odisha. There also tourism is one of the biggest growth drivers. So I have made a comparative kind of analysis and will tell you how we are approaching the development of tourism sector as part of the regional planning. So we had the governing council meeting, which is convened by Niti Aayog, where heads of all honorable chief ministers of all the states convene. In that meeting, Honorable Prime Minister said, why can't each state take this pledge that each one of us will have one global destination? So that was a clarion call. And I think when I see all the good initiatives being done which were just presented, I think we will have more than one global destination in each of our states, at least in Gujarat. And I need not go through this, but tourism really matters, whether it is the economy, the GDP contribution, the inclusivity, the community involvement, also the employment aspect to it. And of course, if we are able to kind of develop global destinations, then getting the foreign exchange, which kind of balances our accounts, balance of payment, others, so balancing that, so it has a lot of impact. And when we look at tourism, there are several things which we need to keep in mind. First, infrastructure development. Second, not just focus on silos as sites, that okay, yahan develop kar diya, wahan kar diya, but look at the different streams. So whether there is religious tourism, whether there is eco-tourism, and the biggest thing which is rising, and which Prabal also mentioned, is the experiential tourism. I often remember my first visit to London. There was a very small wall, ancient looking wall, and they had developed a whole ecosystem around that wall, selling curios and other things, stories about that wall. And it was just a small wall, and I am a Delhi girl. I have grown up in the part of the city which is inside the walled city, the old Red Fort, the entire wall. And it was being, that wall, which is an ancient wall, was being used as a dumping ground. All my life, my school bus will go, we will pass, and in that, it was very nice old wall, and it was not even being restored, but being used for garbage dumping. So it's all experiential, is all about creating stories around various aspects. So when we talk about tourism, we need to kind of identify these streams, because each of these streams will require a different approach to plan. Then of course sustainability and inclusivity, and we have seen what happens if you do not plan the tourist sites development properly. We have seen it in our hills and in various other sites. Heritage conservation is very important, and community involvement, because if you take the local community along, only then you can really develop these sites properly. Job creation and livelihood, one need not press, but for that skilling is important. Skilling the local, and when we say skilling, I'll come to that later on. We said, when you say skilling, the vendors, roadside vendors need to be skilled. How to engage with the tourist. Guides have to be skilled. Various other people who engage with the tourists have to be skilled in various sectors. And branding, other than Kerala, I think Gujarat is another state which has really cracked this on the branding. But new branding approaches were mentioned today, and the soft power. So these are some of the things which we kept in mind while developing the plan. In Gujarat, we found, that is in the Surat region, there was the business center, which was Surat, and Dang, which did not have much activity, a lot of forest cover, a lot of tribal population, but a lot of potential for ecotourism. So what we proposed was a hub and spoke. And in the hub and spoke, Surat was positioned as the business-led leisure tourism, the hub for that, and Dang, the hub for ecotourism. And then we identified the spokes, and we connected the spokes to the hub and created a framework around it. And we propose that all future planning should be basis this hub and spoke. And by planning, what do I mean? Say connectivity. Connectivity, all options of connectivity needs to be given. If my time has value and I'm willing to pay, I should have the option. So whether these are chartered flights, or whether these are other things, and if my time, I'm willing to sit in a bus for 6 hours, that is my choice. But as a tourist, I must have all the choices available. So in the plan, we said, while planning the connectivity for this hub and spoke, any 2 points should be connected through a means of transport which should not exceed 3 hours. That was one guideline which we gave. now coming to you know, Bhubaneswar, the BCPPR, there, you know, that entire region, we realized we could not replicate hub and spoke what we had developed in Surat, because there the sites are spread all over the region. And while Jagannath Puri was really the religious hub, we felt the Surat model will not work here. So there we proposed a new model, the circuit based model. And we proposed three circuits. One is religious circuit, one is experiential circuit, and one the ecotourism circuit. And it was really, and we proposed that the circuit should be the unit of planning, where whoever is planning should not plan for Jagannath Puri alone, but a circuit which we had proposed, it is part of the plan for that entire end to end. Now there the accommodation, there the connectivity, other tourism amenities, all of this needs to be planned with circuit as the unit of planning. So this is the approach, the two approaches that we proposed, one for Surat and one for Bhubaneswar. Then in this model, basically, you know, benchmarking, what we did, essentially go all over, you know, like see what are the global best practices, and so you whatever has worked somewhere, you need to study whether that can work here, and if it can work, then replicate it. We need not reinvent the wheel. Also, you know, incentivize visitors. So if somebody is coming for work to Surat, how do we incentivize them to stay extra day or extra 2 days? And then I already talked about connectivity and managing tourism assets and developing soft skills. So developing soft skills is most important, because it you know, it does not propose skilling in a vacuum. It links skilling to creation of jobs, and it also enriches the growth driver, which is the tourism sector. I will just quickly go through some of the recommendations. You know, here Surat was connected with Tapi, Dang, Navsari, Valsad, Bharuch and Narmada. Narmada was not part of the region, but because of the SOU, we were asked to extend it and connect it to Narmada. And Dang as a tourism hub was connected to Navsari, Tapi and other spokes. So here, you know, bespoke tourism attractions create bespoke and local heritage range of tourism activities, and I was very happy to see when Prabal presented so many of these things are being planned, and the governance structure. So on the left is when we started, you know, we did a baselining. So these were the things which were already on the ground, and the new initiatives that we proposed are on the right: cruise, beachfront development, eco and rural, adventure, wildlife watching. Like a small country like Singapore has, you know, more wildlife attraction by way of experiences, whether it is the night safari, whether it is a very interactive zoo. In Delhi, the zoo is so close to my place, but it is such a arduous thing visiting the zoo. You need to walk so much, and there is no interaction. Even in Australia, you know, where we have visited the zoos, they are so interactive. Similarly in Southeast Asian countries. So many of these things were proposed. In Dang, actually we proposed, you know, something, we develop a whole new, there is some ecosystem present on bamboo, but how do we develop the bamboo story? So having, you know, celebrate, actually in September, there is the International Bamboo Day. Women who are engaged can, you know, we can have artisans village, where visitors who come can first time experience. So all these things were proposed, and also boutique event destinations. I will just, these are all there, you know, in the report, and it is publicly available. It was launched by Honorable Chief Minister last year. So I request you all to go through it. All of these have been proposed. This is the, you know, the cruise. And for the cruise, Chief Secretary Gujarat said, do not just stick to Gujarat, link to, from Dwarka, then Diu, then Mumbai, the entire thing. So we actually extended it here. It is not shown for the entire thing. The cruise line was extended, beachfront development, eco, several things were proposed under all these heads. And in experiential tourism, we came to know that there are more than 2,000 built heritage sites in Surat itself. So how can we develop attractions around them using, leveraging the communities there? Then we proposed a Parsi circuit right up to Mumbai. From Navsari to Mumbai, and what all can be done on the promenades to be developed, other things. So basically, creating experiences. And we already have Dang Darbar and Varli art. How can we, take it to the national level? Managing tourism also, we focused a lot because when we talk about tourism, it has to be responsible tourism. This year when I visited, the run of Kutch, compared to I think 4 years back, this time, I don't know, it didn't seem white enough. It could be later in the year I visited, or I don't know what the reason is, but we all have impact on this earth. As population increases, it cannot be helped. And the COVID period, the one silver lining was we saw how wildlife really came to life because we were all inside our homes. So it will have an impact no matter what, but how can we promote responsible tourism? How can we leverage technology, whether it is, guidance to the tourists, engaging with the local community, overcoming the language barrier, and using technology for various kind of attractions, soft skills I've already spoken, and branding, etc. We also gave a list of policy interventions. In our analysis, we found the government of Rajasthan to have one of the most progressive tourism policies, and benchmarking that, and also some international experiences we suggested. Say for cruise tourism, the first thing we suggested, first bring up a policy. I don't think, unless Mr. Billa can tell us, I don't think we have a cruise policy even for India. So, Prabal mentioned it very aptly, that when you do adventure tourism, if you don't have policies, if you don't have guidelines, and if you don't have monitoring agencies who ensure that compliance of these policies, any one event can really take you back several notches. So that is very important. Several other, and the one thing which I would like to mention here is zoning. We do a lot of zoning while making master plans, but we don't have tourism zoning. So the example which was given to us, if there is a wellness center and you have a Barat Ghar next to it which has blaring music, the two do not go together. So to develop these assets, you need to have advanced zoning, that okay, these are the areas where we will have boutique hotels, here we will have budget hotels, and we need to cater to the entire spectrum. We cannot just talk about, one segment which is bringing us the money. And in this context, having a focused policy which not only promotes people to stay one extra day, but also attract the paying tourist is very important. How do we create specific attraction? How do we cater to their needs is important. So that was something. I think I'll skip the Bhubaneswar thing because it's not relevant in today's context. But the idea is planning at regional level, planning for tourism as a unit, and here the other governance thing which we proposed was to have destination management organization, so that a destination can be promoted as a individual, say a standalone profit center. You plan around that destination, connectivity, etc. Have a DMO. Under the DMO, all the other agencies, so whether you need water supply, electricity, roads, any other clearances, all of them, the DMO should have the powers to kind of, align get things done, coordinate, and take decisions. So this is the, I just wanted to mention this approach for promoting tourism as a growth driver, not only in Gujarat but pan-India, and with the example of Surat. And already I see projects are under implementation since the plan was launched last year. I congratulate the state government, the department, the officers concerned. With that, I end my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, ma'am. Until now, we had heard hub and spoke and circuit approach only with regards to networking and computers. This is where an IES connects it with the arrangement regarding tourism. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was indeed very, very insightful. You also talked about the responsibility to balance growth with sustainability and inclusivity. Thank you for your enlightening session once again. And now, a moment of commitment as we witness partnerships that will script Gujarat's future in adventure tourism. We're here to celebrate the MOU exchange ceremony. These MOUs are not just documents, they are promises between government, industry, and innovators to together carve new trails across the map of India. May I invite our MD sir to kindly step forward and do the honors as we exchange the MOUs in the august presence of our dignitaries.
Mr. Neeraj Bhatt, please come forward for the MOU.
If I may please call upon Mr. Neerath Bhatt, Managing Director from Needus Enterprises Private Limited. They're going to be signing, exchanging an MOU for Adventure Training Institute across Gujarat. Thank you. Up next, may I call upon Mr. Shekhar Babu Bachinapalli, Director from Transcend Adventures Private Limited. They're also going to be promoting adventure activities across Gujarat. Up next, Mr. Ramashish Ray, Director, Starscapes Experiences Private Limited. The movie talks about astro villages and astronomy events across the state. They are to develop the state as a serious astro tourism destination all across Gujarat. They are our industry partners, and now the strategic partners. We now call upon Mr. Sameer Bajaj, Head of Corporate Affairs and Communications from Make My Trip, to please come forward. The MOU talks about travel aggregator, the official digital travel and promotion partner to Gujarat Tourism, driving bookings, branding, and tourist inflow in the district of Mehsana and across Gujarat. Thank you. May I now call upon Ms. Preeti Satyanarayana, President, Ease My Trip, to please come forward. And here the MOU is about the travel aggregation. They're going to be the official digital travel and promotion partner to Gujarat Tourism, driving bookings, branding, and tourist inflow in the district of Mehsana and across Gujarat. Thank you. And now, the time that we've been waiting for the keynote address. We're deeply honored to have with us Mr. Suman Billa, IAS, Additional Secretary and Director General, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, a leader whose work has truly brought adventure tourism into national focus. We now invite him to share his keynote on adventure tourism and safety law, the road ahead. Kindly put our hands together to welcome sir.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be amongst friends and familiar faces. It's especially heartening to see the MOUs being exchanged today, because this is essentially the commitment to move the needle forward in what adventure tourism can do for for Gujarat. And I would like to congratulate the Managing Director and the Gujarat government for taking this initiative for bringing adventure tourism to the forefront. So let me briefly explain as to why adventure tourism is crucial and in what way it fits into the overall um, idea of how we want to develop tourism. The first is that the that the that the that the demography is changing. The first is that there are, earlier 10 years ago, people would look at having acquisitions as an expression of themselves. So you had a good house, you had a good car, and essentially, that would define who you were. Today, people express themselves through their experiences. And it is more true of youngsters who travel regularly. Earlier, people would take, a holiday once a year. It would be a longish vacation. Today, youngsters take 3 or 4 vacations a year. It is for a shorter duration. They're more focused on experiences. They need bragging rights on social media. So you're able to show that this is what I have done. And cost is not an issue now. So what this essentially means is that typically as a tourist destinations, all of us, and especially so in India, we have always looked at hard infrastructure and the hero attraction. By hard infrastructure, I mean you have a good hotel and a room to stay, etc. And then you have a hero attraction. Suppose if you go to Agra, there is a Taj Mahal. So people typically go to a destination, they stay, check into the hotel, go see the hero attraction, they're done with it, and then if it's the older demography, probably have a good meal and have a spa and get going. But the challenge is that this does not convert into the numbers that we want tourism to convert into. So for example, if you look at one example alone, if you look at the temple town of Tirumala, the minimum tourist footfall per day is 50,000, and on peak days it goes to 1 lakh per day. But look at the number of hotel rooms that are there in Tirumala. All put together, it's about 6,000, and if you look at good quality hotel rooms, it is only about 1,000. So people are going there, they do the darshan, and then they exit. But that is not the purpose for which tourism, should be there. The idea is that we should retain them. We need to create experiences and compelling attractions for them to stay back. And which is why I think this layering becomes very important, because at every destination that we develop, it is very vital, it is very essential that we create a depth of experience for a tourist to stay back. And especially so when you map it with the younger demography that is there today. After you've gone to Agra, you've seen the Taj Mahal, then what happens? I've done it in the first 3 hours. You need to create experiences, you need to create products which will compel people to stay back. And I think that is where adventure plays a very important role. So one of the things that the Prime Minister told us, several years ago, was he said that ab dekho Agra mein jate hain log Taj Mahal dekhte hain and then they come back. Can we look at developing a small circuit of something of importance to them using crafts and things like that. So I think that's really the idea of how we need to start looking at things. And if you have to attract the younger demography, I think it's very vital that adventure, which is essentially about expressing themselves and things which are, it is something that appeals to the younger demography, and I think adventure is something that we need to look at. But adventure again suffers from this classic paradigm of hard adventure versus soft adventure. And when we speak about adventure, people are always thinking about going up the Mount Everest and doing these impossible things. But the idea is not that. The idea is that it is essentially about layering the experiences. Those things are there, but that's for a very small part of the market where people are able to travel great distances to do those impossible things. But when people like you and me travel, and especially if you're younger, there are things that you want to do. Perhaps go on a trail, close to where you are, go on a, cycling expedition, do some kayaking. So this soft adventure is something that is very vital, and I think about 15 years ago, we in Kerala launched something called Natventure, which is a combination of nature plus adventure. And I think that is really the way that we need to see. Don't look at adventure as being only catering to the top 5% of people who are doing these great activities, but let's, sort of make it at broad-based to, enhance the depth of experience for the tourist. So I think from that point of view, and Prabhav's presentation had a number where he said that the market is estimated at 14 billion and it is likely to exceed 80 million. So that growth will happen. And whatever it is that we do, the market will drive the growth. But what is important is that we drive that growth responsibly. And by responsibility, I mean that we need to undertake adventure activities in a way that is safe, secure, that inspires confidence amongst the people who are coming for adventure activity. But also, please understand, it should also inspire confidence of the insurance companies who are insuring those who are, coming for those activities. Because one of the challenges that we have in India is that several people who come to India for adventure from, say, high-yield markets like the US, etc., there are limitations of insurance coverage. And which is why I think we need to work on the supply side and elevate our game so that we are able to, sort of fall into the bracket. And that can be a big enabler of what we need to do. So there was some talk about guidelines, legislation, etc. So in the year 2015, I think Captain Swadesh Kumar was there, and I used to be Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism then. We had done in 2015 one iteration of the draft guidelines. In 2018, I think we did the second iteration of the guidelines. So essentially the idea was, we said that adventure activity cannot become, something that is left to the judgment of the operator. If I'm coming to you and I say that I want to try your product, I'm essentially placing my life in your hands. And I want to ensure, and you have to ensure that, I'm safe and secure and you send me back in the same shape in which I have come. But a lot of things, one of the things that we have seen is that this proliferation of adventure activities was essentially done by operators who did not pay too much heed to safety and security, and which is why we brought those guidelines. Now it's been a few years and we've moved across COVID, and where we are today, we still find that there is significant amount of improvement, but there is still a considerable amount of ground that you still need to cover. And which is why what we have now done is a draft model legislation that we have done for adventure activities across the country. And so essentially what does this do? So the Model Act is basically a suggestive act, as I have said. It is something that has to be legislated by the state governments because it falls squarely within the competency of the states. So it prioritizes safety and security of those who come for undertaking adventure activities. So essentially it will drill down into two areas. The first is that you need to have proper training for those who are offering these adventure activities. So essentially what it means is you cannot have whitewater rafting being done by somebody who has not done a basic first aid course and who has not done something basic course on whitewater rafting, and similarly for all of them. And which is why I think it's very important for us that we ensure that those who offer are trained in what they are planning to do. The second is in the equipment. And one of the failures that we see majorly is that there is equipment failure, there is something which snaps or something which doesn't work, and therefore there has to be minimum standards for the equipment, in which we say that anybody who wants to operate this will have to sort of do. So all of these things were actually put together in the guidelines, but as I said, the issue was the enforceability. So we've now brought it within the framework of this act, and we want this act to be taken up by the respective state governments and legislate them so that licensing and certification will become mandatory. It is not that anybody wakes up one day and he says that, okay, today I'm going to start a paragliding activity here or a bungee jumping activity there, and operate outside the four walls of the law. But we need to bring them within a framework in which we are satisfied as the government. And one of the things that you pointed, Prabhav, is the impact that accidents have had, and which is essentially one bad egg can spoil it for everybody else. Because if there is one bad case, it is likely that in the perception of the tourists, they think that the entire destination is unsafe. And which is why I think in all of our interest, it is important and it is essential that we ensure that we bring these standards into place. So I hope that states like Gujarat will take the lead in doing this. The second is, if we have to widen and deepen the impact that adventure tourism can have, is essentially to bring in PPPs and enable a PPP framework in which people come, because most of the assets where adventure tourism can be held are owned by the government, are places of influence. It can be a forest area, it can be a dam site. So the government needs to come forward, and I'm happy that you have done that activity, that exercise, on where there are several destinations where you have said what are the things that can actually be done there. And I think on that basis it is important for the government to open up this PPP framework, saying that this is what we want to do, paragliding activity here, this is the support that we will give in terms of, laying the road and making, giving whatever is the equipment that is necessary for storing their things, etc. And I think that is one way to enable. The second critical thing that we need to do is that states need to take the role in training the people who will go on to work in the adventure industry. The government of India has we have the Indian Institute of Skiing and Mountaineering, we have the National Institute of Water Sports in Goa, but what they can do is only so much. And I think the state governments need to sort of look at what is the, sort of a number that you require, and you need to start framing courses and creating these centers where you are able to train, upskill, retrain people so that they don't forget, and it should also include soft skills on how to, interact with tourists, etc. The third is, I think we need to also have safety audit mechanisms. It is not enough to just put it in the law one day and then we say that, okay, you come, you take a license from me, and then you run scot-free for the next 5 years. I think the important thing is you need to have an annual, biannual, whatever it is that you have, depending upon the nature of the activity, as to how you can, ask them for, to go and check and verify that the norms are being met. And I think lastly, whatever it is that we do, we must do it through the lens of sustainability and responsibility, because we must preserve what we celebrate. And adventure tourism is very closely aligned to nature, so I think whatever it is that we need to ensure that we do it without violating nature, and we do not take away more from nature than what it gives us. I think if we do that, we are good. I would like to congratulate the government of Gujarat and GTDC for undertaking these MOUs today. I wish you good luck, and I'm sure that as we frame the national aspiration from doubling the tourism sector's contribution to GDP from 5 to 10%, states like Gujarat will be at the forefront, and areas like adventure tourism will essentially be key drivers of that growth. I thank you all, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for a very lucid, smooth, and an effective presentation, highlighting the importance of safety legislation and whatever the state government needs to do in order to. You gave an excellent example about of the Taj Mahal, saying if people are to visit Taj Mahal and then what else. So you give a beautiful perspective on how do we see travel as well. Thank you so much once again for that on behalf of the entire August gathering here. And now it's time to welcome a girl here. I'm sure a couple of us would have seen this film on Netflix. Little did I know that I'm ever going to meet her with so much ease here. मंजिलें उन्हीं को मिलती है जिनके सपनों में जान होती है, पंख से कुछ नहीं होता, सिर्फ हौसलों से उड़ान होती है, is what I could say for her. With your thundering round of applause, may I call upon Miss Purna Malawat on the stage. May I request our MD sir to kindly felicitate her, and often a token of appreciation and our love and encouragement to the girl. Now the claps will go a little louder when I say that she's the first girl, first ever youngest girl to have climbed Mount Everest at the age of 13 years and 11 months. And if you still go to Netflix, you'll check out this movie. And Purna, if I may request you to share your few words of wisdom and inspire all of us to at least start walking, if not climb the Everest. Thank you.
A very good morning, everyone. I want to take this 1 or 2 minutes to thank my rock solid support behind my achievement journey of Mount Everest and any other mountains. Mr. Shekhar Babu sir, the founder of Transcend Adventures, he is my coach. He was my biggest support and guidance for everything. And of course, my parents, coming from a very humble background, being a tribal girl, getting a support from parents is very difficult. But I'm lucky I had a good parents who is always supportive. And yeah, so now this experience of adventure activities from last 11 years. Now I'm training others. More than 30,000 people I have trained so far. It's all because of my coach support and my team support. And I am associated with TARC, Transcend Academy of Rock Climbing. Thank you so much, Gujarat Tourism, for this recognition. This is something reminds me to achieve more and inspire many more. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you everyone. So actually, I was in a government residential school in Hyderabad, in Telangana state. So this opportunity was given by the school only. So I was very active in sports, so they selected me for rock climbing course, where my coach my coach met me. From there only, everything, the adventure journey was started in 2014. Yeah, I think it's almost 8 months of practice and training I took for Mount Everest expedition. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Purna. Yeah. We'll take a short break here, which will be followed by a panel discussion. Thank you, everybody. Please feel free to have a little break, and then we'll start with the panel discussion. The speakers are all requested to kindly come to the speakers' lounge. And we'll strictly begin after 5 minutes. All of us are kindly requested to please gather around here within 5 minutes. Thank you.
આપણે હવે સરસ ટાઈમ મળ્યો છે તમે અહીંયા સેટ કરાવી દો કાજલ આ રહ્યા લઈ લે હા લઈ લે હા હા કરાવી
Mr. Deepak Raj, India Head, Ironman. We welcome you on the stage, sir. Mr. Jaideep Bansal, CEO, Global Himalayan Expedition. Mr. Jaideep Bansal, CEO, Global Himalayan Expedition. Mr. Daksh Sharma, co-founder, Effort. Mr. Daksh Sharma, co-founder, Effort. Mr. Prateek Gupta, partner, Adventure Sports, Cover 360. Mr. Prateek Gupta, partner, Adventure Sports, Cover 360. Ms. Ishita Khanna, founder and director, Spiti Ecosphere. Ms. Ishita Khanna, founder and director, Spiti Ecosphere. Mr. Nirath Bhatt, honorary treasurer, ATOAI and director, founder of Climbing World. I request Mr. Shantanu Pandit, founder, EKO India, to set the context and talk about potential of adventure tourism in Gujarat.
Respected dignitaries, respected experts from various fields related to adventure programs, and dear friends. Thanks for hearing us out. Thanks to TCGL for having us here. What a wonderful opportunity. And this is the second time I'm interacting with the state government, and it's been quite amazing. The Gujarat state government. Really, really encouraging to be involved in the fantastic journey that you have set forth. Um, what I will do is paint the canvas for the panel discussion, make an effort, and I invite the panelists who have been already introduced to add anything when your turn comes to speak in terms of painting the canvas or setting the context. But I'm really glad about one thing, the PPP that was spoken about, we actually see a representation of that here. So we have the trade association, the representative, we have the government officials obviously, we have ATOs being represented, and that too across activities, and we have professionals also. So for instance, I'm a single person professional in the field of outdoors. This is fantastic, and I'll tell you why I'm saying that. So the kind of developments that are happening in India, something very similar happened in a few countries, including the Western world. And so there is a bit of data now that has emerged, which has been researched. So the question is, why have regulation? And what does it mean, or what benefits are there if there is regulation? So the little bit of research that I mentioned clearly points at three things that worked, and this is a repetition of two speakers who referred to that. One is government regulation, second is self-regulation, and the third is third-party regulation. Now the third party could come in the form of audit, oversight, maybe there are other formats. Now I'm sorry, the interesting thing is self-regulation has proven to be the least effective. We need regulation to come in. And why do we need it? In a field like adventure programs which are being organized for novices, we undertake risks, and we are looking at two aspects. One, the positive benefits of risk. There is a certain something out there amongst natural environment, amongst socio-cultural environments, that wants people to, that makes people to go and take those risks. So there are benefits. So we need to maximize those benefits. Benefits, commercial, obviously, we are tourism ministry platform. So commercial benefits, joy, thrill, satisfaction. We are also looking at learning. And we are looking at benefits to the local communities, benefits to the natural environment, if we can actually positively impact. While doing this, the second aspect of risk, while doing this, we need to minimize risk to an acceptable level. And that is the crux. What is acceptable level? Which is why we need coming together. Because that acceptable level has to be uniformly understood even by the society. Otherwise, we have experienced National Green Tribunal and a couple of court cases where the society was almost forced to bring to the government's notice that, hey, self-regulation is not doing its adequate job. So, so the whole idea is, how do we create a safety ecosystem, an adventure tourism ecosystem which is very robust, which is flexible, which will learn through experience, which will adapt and contribute tremendously to growth while minimizing risk. So this is the kind of context that we have when we invite speakers with their perspectives. So the thing is, we have certain limited time. So panelists, I need your permission. With the help of Samiha, what we are going to do is kind of time each contribution and give a kind of alert bell. Will that be okay? And I can be then really assertive saying, hey, your time is up. Is that okay? Yeah. Yeah. So adventure tourism, it's a fairly informal world. I know half of them since before, so please bear with my informality. Mm, So, we have a representation from policy level in this gathering, right down to grassroots, on the field, nuts and bolts kind of experience. I just want to start off. So sorry, I'm kind of taking the mic back. I want to start off with one quick thing. The draft law was introduced by Mr. Suman Billa, and now it's up to the state. So I just want to offer as information that in the state of Maharashtra, I was a founder director of a Section 8 company that we formed, and it took a protracted 8 years dialogue with the state government, a fantastic partnership where the GR, along with the guidelines that was finally issued, we could influence and keep most stakeholders really happy and satisfied with the outcome. So policy level down to we have looked at why are we doing this. So the potential of Gujarat has been really showcased. So Captain Swadesh Kumar, if I may please invite you, we have looked at the potential. So the whole idea is now what's the next step for Gujarat to start doing in terms of bringing those people in?
I hope great. Well, good morning. Yes, it's 2 minutes to good afternoon, so I can say good morning to all of you. You know, let me answer a few questions of the gentleman who said something about Rishim, then I'll tell you what I want to speak. I need half a minute more than what you have given me time.
She is the timekeeper.
You know what happening is, sir? What happening is, sir? You mentioned about three adventure sports, water sports, land-based and air-based. I think if you have to succeed without spending any money, land-based is the best. You must focus on land-based. Why? The reason is, from here, this place itself, about 160 kilometers of beautiful areas of Aravali and Padanpur or some stuff like this. And I was did some research and found 4 beautiful items can be planned in the land-based from sitting from the Ahmedabad itself to drive over 150 kilometers and do it. Why not promote that? Why not promote that? Then thinking of water sports and aero sports and things like this, which is tough. Reason being, I'm basically thinking of inbound tourism. Sorry, sir. For example, if somebody from US comes here, he's not going to come for rafting. Sorry to say this, or aero sports or ballooning. It will be good for the domestic tourism. But if you're international tourism, you need to bring land-based tourism. This one thing is very important. So I'll elaborate. I have the presentation. I'll forward it to you. Second point you have raised is about age. I'm looking at the presentation. Please understand, sir, people of my age, which is I'm fairly young, and you think in terms of making programs for younger people like my age, 50 plus, 60 plus. Please understand, there's nothing available for youngsters 60 plus or 70 plus people, and it's not difficult. What I want to go, my friends from my age, they want to go to a particular homestay somewhere, sit there, have a nice sleep for a night, have a glass of beer in the morning, get up, have breakfast, hike, and come back and do the same thing again. Please think of those lines, because you're going to attract huge, large people who are hiking and trekking. So this is the land-based. None of these 60 plus will go on. Even I'm not allowed to sit in an aircraft anymore to do it. Bungee jumping is not allowed anymore. So third thing we just mentioned here in the presentation was guidelines. Guidelines were made during my time as the A2R president. Sorry. The guidelines were made during my time as president. We wanted to make a rules and regulation. But Mr. Billa at that time, they said, no, you can't make rules. You can't tell the Gujarat government or any state government how to run your business because it's a state subject. So we do the cut the rules and regulation, make the guidelines work. And send these guidelines to all the state governments, all the secretaries. The different points came in, and they were made by us experts in the different fields, and they wrote a nice things. And it's a dynamic, it's nothing static. So it has to be keeping changing. So you have a look of it. Now the new regulation coming in, but think of those guidelines is essential, most essential. But also please say that these guidelines are implemented. What's happening is, sorry to say, I'm telling you one, in one state in India, the tourist director, deputy director, tourist officer is responsible giving a license for rafting or for parasailing, paragliding. He has no clue what he's talking about it. So sir, if you want to give a license to her, please, if your tourist officer doesn't know anything about this hard subject, please ask ATOI, our association, to put an expert on this, to put in the panel. Giving her license or not giving her license can be responsibility of the experts itself. So do use experts for giving license to us. So this is my suggestion. Coming to you do all the beautiful things in the world, lovely things in the world, you do it. But if you don't market, it's no good at all. So I'm going to speak today. I'm a marketing person. So I believe marketing is the most crucial thing for you to think. And I've made some points. Depending on the time, I don't have too much time, but I still quickly go through the marketing.
Yeah, you got to be quick about this, and you could submit then the papers that you have. Yeah, sorry.
10 seconds on mine now.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I'm very, very clear. Sir,
Makes it so difficult in India, you know.
what I suggest is, sir, build a global brand identity. And here, you just get the side, sir. You heard it over here. Please understand, adventure tourism. No. Please write the word Adventure Gujarat. Use the word Adventure Gujarat as a brand for future reference. And then launch Adventure Gujarat as the important thing. I think based on global branding, identity is very important. I don't want to go to explain to it, but brand Gujarat, it will be very simple. The Adventure Gujarat will be the brand for you. Then you can do many branding. Experts can explain to you. Digital domination is another point I want to explain to you. Very strange thing I want to share with you. I am in the business for almost 46 years. I have never received any message from Gujarat Tourism, come to Gujarat. Sorry, not only from you. None of the state governments ever say this. Sir, may I humbly request you, it'll take not more than 10 minutes to press a button, and all information of Gujarat will come to all the 10,000 adventure tour operators. Adventure tour operators in the country, adventure or non-adventure. Sir, I humbly tell your digital fellow to take a list. If you want to buy a list, take a list from it. It doesn't cost any money. Your one letter to IATO, ATOI, different associations can give you information. Another problem is that you must make a strategic global partnership with people. And quickly, I want to tell you one thing more. Take advantage of us as a tour operator, your arms. Don't ignore us, because we are actually promoting the destination across the world. So if you ignore us, it's no good. With our vast experience of so many years of different places, we can assist you in planning your things. And finally, I want to say this, that adventure tourism is not a cut and paste business. It's not a cut and paste. She can't go to my website, cut and put in her website. No, it's not possible. You need to do very simply a actual activity exercise. And fan tours are very important for the domestic tour within the country itself. Invite us. Don't invite Sudesh Kumar, because I actually don't go it. But invite somebody, youngster in my company. I have 20-member company. Tell me you give me manager level, 3 people or 1 person. So please give a fan to different people so that they have actual knowledge on this. And finally, I would say, sir, very important, share itineraries you prepare. For example, when I got a message from you for a speaker, I went to website and found 4 beautiful itineraries, X for North Gujarat. Similarly, you can have huge itineraries. Actually, you fit me. Now, please understand, come to Gujarat is no meaning. Sorry to say this. Come to Gujarat, come to Ahmedabad, go to North Gujarat, and the 4 suggested programs are there. Sir, believe me, you will have wonders of business. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I just want to offer one information. So in Maharashtra, we have a very robust GR and the guidelines. There is a huge gap from that to implementation. Huge. So that's a block that can be anticipated, and probably some things that he said would help us implement things.
All things.
Yeah. Yeah, all things. Yeah. So next, Mr. Deepak Raj. Yeah, so in the world of adventure tourism activities, they have been mentioned through the slideshows. How does an event like Hyrox or the Ironman fit in, and how can it actually contribute to the growth of adventure tourism in Gujarat?
Good afternoon, and thanks for the opportunity for inviting us over here. Um, at our end, we believe in sports tourism. So the word adventure is, our goals are adventurous when people sign up for our events. So just to explain to you, we organize marathons, Ironman, and Hyrox. I don't know, quick show of hands. How many of you have heard about Ironman? Okay, that's great. 12 years ago when I started my company, I had to explain people, so that it's taken a while. How many of you have heard about Hyrox? Yeah, so it's a new one. Yeah? Yeah, it's a new one. It's just 4 months old. We are 5 years old in India from Ironman perspective, which is 4 months old from a Hyrox perspective. We do marathons. So the different thing what we bring to the table is we put a city or a region on the global map. So when we organize Ironman Goa, which has been happening for the last 5 years, in terms of tourism and economic impact, we do a report every year just for the race weekend. We are not an all year long thing. We come in, we stay for a week. And in that week, it's about 48.2 crores was what the economic impact we had in Goa. And the recent Hyrox event, 50 countries, 3,000 people, 3,000 spectators. And in most of our events, we're talking about 15,000, 20,000 hotel rooms and a lot of impact on that part. So what we do is all of these 55 country people will then go back and speak about that region. And they don't just come in the morning like we were talking, I think there was mention about Tirumala. You go in the morning, do a visit to the temple and leave in the night. People don't come in the morning, race and then leave in the evening. They come with family, they come with a support crew, they stay for 5 days, maybe even 10 days, and they make sure they visit the region because it's a major commitment of training. I mean, the sport as an Ironman is swimming, cycling, and running. You swim 3.8 kilometers, you cycle 180 kilometers, and you run 42.2 kilometers. That's the full format of the Ironman. And there are different shorter versions of that, right? So it's a lifestyle thing. So people do it as a bucket list, and India is on the bucket list for people who travel from overseas, right? And what we are doing here is giving them a reason to say India was always on their list. If I put a Hyrox event or an Ironman event, they say, I've always wanted to go to India and I always want to race. They've been racing all over the world. They're going to pick this. And if I tell you cities like Kalmar in Sweden, okay, Busselton in Western Australia, Taupo in New Zealand, if you're doing Ironman events, you will know those cities. Or if you've visited them as a tourist, you'll know that. But they have become a huge tourist hub because of these events. So we are not going to be a tour operator all year long bringing people. We do an event once a year, more than happy to do multiple times in a year with the right infrastructure. And then we bring overseas people here who will then become spokesperson and ambassadors of talking about this region. And they will come and stay for a week to 10 days when they do our event. So that's what we bring to the table. And Hyrox has 1 million participants this year. Okay, Ironman is a 45-year-old company. Hyrox is a sport which is just 8 years old, fastest growing sport in the world, right? So that's what we do. We bring global IPs and our own IPs and we create it. We want to create trail runs. Like there is great trekking spots, but we want to bring the sporting part of it, right? And we want to work with the other operators so that those information can be shared with people so that they plan their holidays and combine that with the race. That's what we bring to the table.
Great, thank you. Yeah.
Hyrox is a combination of running and functional fitness. So it's 1 kilometer run and then one workstation. It could be pushing a sled for 50 meters. Then 1 kilometer running again, and then you have to do burpees for 80 meters. 1 kilometer running, and then a sandbag over your shoulder, lunges for 100 meters. Right, so that's Hyrox. We need a very large convention center and it's an indoor part. But like the inauguration ceremony yesterday which happened, we could even set up something like this. So the goal is, I'll come back to you very specifically, we want to create a Hyrox event in a very iconic location. Like when we did Hyrox Delhi, most people who came from overseas took time to visit Taj Mahal, and then also did the race. Now we want to say, man, why can't we do a high rocks not in front of Taj Mahal, but as close to it as we can, right? So that's what we can do, and that's the part which I would like to speak to you, at a convenient time, of taking the events to an iconic location. In case of Ironman, the Ironman team has visited. I've done a site visit. Dharoi, as an example, could be the swim, the cycling course, and the run course. So that's the goal. Statue of Unity is good. Obviously, the waters are a little crocodile infested, so hard to put people in the thing. But high rocks, so that's the goal. So to take these things to iconic locations, and it's good for the brand, where the region then gets, I mean, if 1 million people are following high rocks, they will know a city or a region or a state, and that's intangible. I cannot come and tell you how many people came back to Gujarat because of my race, but we know it's been happening overseas.
Thank you so much. So, Ishita, the next question is to you. So you have a lot of experience of working with local communities. So when we speak of events like this, and adventure brings people very close to local communities. How can adventure travel become a force which can positively impact not only local communities but even the terrain there?
Right. Thank you, Shantanu. It's really an honor to be here and to be amongst people who are passionate about adventure. And so I'm here, my forte, and I've been working for the past 2 decades on looking at how adventure travel can be linked with a purpose. And how can it become a force for good? How can it become actually help in the development, the sustainable development, and hence directly aligned to the SDGs? So I mean, what we started in the Himalayas in Spiti is what we're doing out there is contextual there, but it's also contextual to any destination. And Gujarat has a lot of places which can be, as you've explained, developed along these lines. And when you combine adventure travel with local communities or with culture and add that purpose to it, you can get, for instance, in Spiti, what we have done over the years is that, we've had, created community-based homestays. So they're not just creating livelihoods, which is what is the objective for a lot of the, travel companies or a lot of the, initiatives that are happening on the ground. But how can a purpose be added to that? So we have, for instance, like treks which are aligned to climate action. So where people trek through Spiti or they get involved in experiences and activities there, but also help build an artificial glacier, which then helps to impact the local community in a positive way. It also helps, create access to water. People cycling through Spiti get involved in helping to build a greenhouse and create food security in the area. And help raise anemia is a big challenge because of lack of vegetables. So these greenhouses then, so basically adding purpose to your adventure activity takes adventure travel beyond just the experience, but also creating a connect with the area, as well as also going from creating care, creating compassion in the region, and also helping in the overall development. So we have volunteers and we have travelers coming in that help with dental camps, or so looking at addressing healthcare issues in the area. And it's a win-win for everybody, because the traveler goes back with kind of a connect with that place. He's going to come back with his entire family and say, hey, I did this. It becomes a relationship for that place, for that person, with the family, with the local community there, and it creates a great experience for everyone. So so I think, that's the way that can easily also be done across the board in any state in Gujarat as well.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking at the time. If time permits, I may come back to you with another question. But for now, let's kind of shift before again going back to community thing. So, Pratik, one question to you is, coming from a very strong background of having provided insurance cover to adventurers and adventure companies, what are the dimensions of this whole thing called insurance, and how can it actually help us deal with risk management, for instance?
Good afternoon, everyone. Prabhav sir, respected dignitaries, industry colleagues, thank you for inviting us. I think adventure without safety is accident waiting to happen. And sir, you just told us about the incidents which happened. It's been happening since long time everywhere in India. We have experienced almost 100 deaths cases in last, let's say, 5 to 6 years of our operation, and it's 2 deaths. And these deaths are not coming from, for example, the big extreme adventures only. They are mainly coming from the unregulated, normal, soft adventures actually. We have rescued more than 3,000 people across the world. We have done lot of on-ground support. And the major thing in terms of stats, they are majorly coming from unregulated, normal adventure tours rather than someone going to, let's say, Mount Everest, where the death rates are less than, let's say, a trekker going to Sayadris. So idea is if Gujarat has to be the adventure tourism hub, then safety has to be the foundation, not as the afterthought. Like, it cannot be an afterthought. Because I'll give you an example. I came to Gujarat directly from Nepal, where we are operating our Everest season. We have, as an Indian company, as a small Indian company, as an adventure safety company, we have catered to 84 plus nationalities. 84. And we are going to get, within 1 year, more than 100, 120 nationalities. And I spoke to a lot of these big adventurers from across the world, experts, and I asked them, why can't you come to India? We have 2/3 of Himalayas, we have everything. Of course, Everest is Everest, but again, we have everything. And there's a big pause, and sometimes there is lack of communication, yes, but the biggest thing is plan B, which is evacuations, communication. There is nothing plan B. Regulations in terms to obtaining a license to, let's say, organize an event. So these people are coming in numbers on a trail in Nepal, which is as small as Langtang, which is getting 20, 30, 40,000 people in a season. Right now, so my, as we say, insurance. MD Saab said that we need insurance for foreign nationals. We actually had a product. IRD approved it. I just spoke to one of the biggest companies, and they said we do not have a data protection law properly mapped with global data laws. So in case we do give them insurance, what happens after that? And if someone sues us, so we are able to, and the regulation, so 3 things: insurance has to be mandatory, insurance has to be mandatory for the clients, the companies, and the stakeholders in terms of the people who are actually instructors and the guides. Regulations always matters, and we have amazing experiences with us. So we could, and we will, and last 1 minute. So we have done that in Ladakh. We have showed this as an example. We can avoid these unavoidable deaths and torture to the, I say tortures generally. So in Ladakh, we set up India's first high altitude medical rescue center with the help of the district administration and the local association called Altova. And we took over the entire Chadar trek. The entire Chadar trek, we set up our medical camps, rescue units. We provided insurance to everybody. It used to be a double-digit death rate in 1.5 months of its operation. Since last 5 years, 0 deaths. Why? Because there were regulations. Yeah. Not even a single death. Local people have taken over the project. SOPs are there, and everybody is thriving. And especially the local administration, because it used to be a headache for them. And it used to be the simple thing, band kar do. Now it is actually operational. So yeah, that's my 2 cents about it. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Actually, that last example with figures was quite emphatic. So Jaideep Bansal, moving back to the community-led initiatives and the impact or the relationship with adventure tourism. So based on your experience, what would really help us understand better about what we should be looking at, which would contribute to the growth?
Sure. So thank you everyone for being here. I think, I agree with Swadesh sir the branding of, I'll start with branding, then I'll come to the communities. The branding has to be, when anyone thinks about adventure tourism, people think about New Zealand, people think about Australia, nobody thinks about India. But can Gujarat make itself as the premium hub for adventure tourism in India? Because you have everything what is required. You have the mountains, you have hills, you have the jungles, and you also have the coastline. So you have a perfect atmosphere to create that infrastructure. Now what happens is with adventure tourism is, because you have all these places, typically the local communities, the tribal communities are the main people that are living in these fragile ecosystems, and adventure tourism typically happens in the most fragile ecosystems of the state. Now what happens, now I'll ask all of you, what do you think is more sustainable and inclusive? If you take up a jungle area, do you build lodges and resorts there? Or do you do a balance of both, where you build some lodges and resorts, but you also include the communities through homestays? What do you think is more sustainable? Option A or B? But typically the tendency is put in infrastructure money, put in a lot of money, and let's go with option A because that we feel is the best option. But ideally, if we really want to think of adventure tourism as an ecosystem, not as an industry, then you have to go with option B. And what I mean by option B is, for example, even near Statue of Unity, there are many villages around the periphery. There's a village called Zarwani. We had sent a team to survey there. You have waterfall there. You have beautiful trails that can be cut out. Now when I think of Statue of Unity, I'm not thinking of that as a multi-day destination where people are staying in that campsite and visiting the statue and coming back and doing some rafting and everything. That is fine. But can you also include the communities? Can there also be village walks hosted by the villagers? Can they include the travelers into the handicraft ecosystem that is being developed? And we have done the same in places like Ladakh, Meghalaya, and the northeastern states, where what we are doing is adventure becomes a captive to identify the travelers to bring to that destination. Then we take them to the villages where they engage with the community on basic experience like making the food. Engaging in handicraft, and you are able to buy handicraft souvenirs and also engage in village level experiences directly. And Swadesh sir again pointed out a beautiful thing. The amount of the Indian diaspora that has gone outside of Gujarat and keep coming back every Navratri during the wedding season is immense. Now that is a great market to capture, who have a high value, they are high value tourists, they want to spend money and they would want unique experiences that they cannot get in US. So they are not looking for like a skydiving in Gujarat, but can they have a adventure activity which involves a very beautiful, unique experience involving a bit of adventure, bit of community, bit of immersion, so that A, they are able to connect back with their roots, B, they are able to engage in something that is not offered to them already going to a Colorado or someplace else where they're coming. And that's, I think, a huge market that's just waiting. That's an opportunity that's there that can be captured. So the people are coming here not just to go to Swati Snacks or to go to attend a wedding, but can those people can also be taken to multiple places of Gujarat. And last point on that is, instead of spreading out thin, instead of developing 15 destinations over the next 2 years, like you mentioned also, it is dependent a lot on the IS officers, right? You are passionate about it, you will do it. The successor will come, they'll say, no, I don't like these 2 destinations, I'll do it in 5 other destinations. So instead of that, can there be a master blueprint locked in place that will choose only 5 destinations in Gujarat that we will develop as adventure tourism hubs and not spread the money across 15, 20 destinations? So focus on less, and that is what Prime Minister Modi also says, that like the whole one district, one product kind of a thing. So one district, one activity or something can be worked out. But I think those are the things, and where it has to be made inclusive, and also the local tribal communities need to benefit from the increase in adventure tourism. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was a well integrated stuff that you put on the table. I would now go to Neerad Bhatt. So Neerad, when we look at this whole picture, now you represent on this panel the Adventure Tour Operators Association of India. How do you see the association play its role in partnership with the government as well as with the adventure tour operators community, and then ultimately the customer?
So, મને ગુજરાતી આવડે. હું દિલ્હીનો છું પણ મને ગુજરાતી આવડે.
Yeah, true, but yeah. Yeah, over to you, sir.
Namaste, namaste everyone. So, being in a Gujarat and know Gujarat from north to south, east to west.
May I please interrupt? Ishita and Pratik need to board a plane at 3:45. So if you feel that your time is up, then. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Neeraj.
have a bit of adventure today.
Yeah. So, as we are talking about the development of the Gujarat as a adventure tourism hub, and as we discussed, the Gujarat is offering the variety of terrain which the entire country may not have altogether, from desert to lakes, coastline, the biggest coastline, and even the extremes of the heat and the cold in the winter. So it was a thought that Gujarat is not a natural adventure destination, but why not? There are many things. So when first thing, it comes our mindset, whether it's a destination, adventure destination or not. As Captain Sudesh Kumar said that he's a pioneer on this adventure tourism. So we learned from him. And same way, we were looking at the Himalayas and because we have a Himalaya. If we don't have Himalaya, then what we do? Don't we do anything? So what Gujarat offers, like let's focus on a Gujarat. So we have a terrain, variety of activities, unlimited. It's not only one, two. Our kids, if we see on the coastline, in the jungles, in the riverside, they do many things. So first thing, people want that in their background. The development of the ecosystem, that is essential. We cannot just import the adventure from outside. Let's bring it here and we can start. No. We can do it for a while, for a few days. But to develop the adventure tourism, it needs to be integrated in each and every person in that locality with the theme of that. And the development is not major infrastructure, basic facility, accommodation, food, and the safety and health and all those requirements which we all know. So basic things need to be developed and conceptualized, train them. The biggest gap is the skilling of them. So skilling. When we start, Gujarat, this is not a Manali or Ladakh or Uttarakhand where we have the skilled people into that. But people do not. If we go on the south, in the Andhra or Karnataka, they don't want the extreme adventure. So we want to identify that what level of adventure we need to do. So that level we need to start. Gradually it will elevate to the different level, and while everything will grow. So here the different organization, different stakeholders need to get integrated, where the government, they are not expert of adventure, but they are expert of the governance, their governing system, the regulatory system, its implementation. That is the most important. Second part, who are the expert? The industry experts, they are the expert. How government can rely on them? So through the associations, association appoint them in the support of the government for the standardization. We spoke about the guidelines when sir was there. We had a wonderful guideline, adventure tourism guideline. So now we are moving towards the standardization of the guideline. So we were following the standards from the world. Now India has decided, Prime Minister has announced that there is a nation, one manak. So we are working on our standards. So standards is a big misconception that we are following the highest standard. Highest standards are not the highest, they are the minimum. Standards are always the minimum requirement. So जैसे हम बोलते हैं कि what is the up to the mark? So that is the up to the mark minimum requirement to start with. If we have written somewhere, then everyone can follow and start with that standardization. So standardization is important factor for the regulation. If we have standards, there can be regulation. It's easy for government to implement. So government's role becomes easy with the standardization. So standardization, government's role, then the industry association. So industry association have the pool of the expert. They can appoint, suggest, recommend, guide. Many things can be done from the industry association. Then the operators, they need to learn those guidelines and the standards. They need to follow. They need to follow that and implement into their system. Then their guide need to learn, get their certification, up to the mark as per the standard. The training institution provide as per the standards. So everything can be synchronization. One person work here and go to the other place. It's all same, no difference. Then last, it comes at the participant. Participant need to learn that as well to make themselves aware that whom to go, whom to approach, where to go, and what to do. What are the questions, where to complain, or what monitoring system requires. Then the professionals they are the third party. So they are the monitoring people, helping government, associations, and people to streamline all those things. And last part, it's the insurance. If everything is in a place, everything is perfect, still it is an adventure, risk is inherited, and at that time, anything happens, the compensation comes from the insurance. So this is the entire ecosystem of this adventure tourism. If we implement in a place, it can do the marvel. One last point I would like to say here. India's population is a 66% population is in a non-urban area. So that makes about 90 crore people of India, which is rural, coastal, mountain, border regions, and those people. So they are normally try to migrate into the city area. If we empower them in their region with the knowledge of there, the India can develop way much earlier than 2047.
Thank you. That was really comprehensive. Let's move on to Daksh. So now that we have seen a lot of perspectives, a lot of examples of what has worked for people, how do you see AI specifically and any other technology that could be non-AI actually contribute to achieving goals, objectives that are being talked about?
Thank you so much. So I'll make this super quick in the interest of flights. So sir, based on everything that we have heard today, I'd like to propose a 3-point actionable framework in terms of how we can embrace AI with respect to the larger theme of adventure tourism. And I'll make it very specific, and let's start with the 3 Ps. The first is personalization. Personalization is, let's say, for example, today, we were talking about, how many people are Googling, but the Gen Alphas of today, not the Gen Zs, but Gen Alphas are going to AI and they ask AI. Now, when I go to a chat GPT and I ask about, the topic of the event today, and I was searching about the event on chat GPT, we were not able to influence an LLM, which is a large language model like chat GPT. So personalization is very critical, and at a grassroots level, when you talk about a small tour operator, who's sitting in Mehsana, and a guy is going to his website and he's filling a contact form, personalization is when you are actually able to speak in the language of a traveler. And today we can easily enable that using custom chatbots, right? A WhatsApp assistant. We work with voice AI, companies which are actually based out of Bay Area. So that is a level of personalization that we can have today. Second thing that Prateek talked about, was in terms of predictability, right? So there were unfortunate incidents that have happened. With AI, you can easily enable, API integration. For example, you talk about weather APIs. You can actually forecast and predict when things are not going to be working for your way. So I would say predictability can easily be sort of tapped in by looking at the historical data. What is an incident that has happened in the past? And for AI, data is the fuel. And we can actually integrate all of that into a model, which is, let's say, for adventure theme, which could be even for, incidents that we are talking about in the past. And that is something that will help us control, as we move forward. The third thing is partnerships. We talked about, PPPs. And I would just like to add a layer because I'm a part of a body called AIMG APAC. So we are about 1,000 plus, marketers across the globe who are actually working with organizations and enabling, safe AI. And formulating policies. So we would love to have an opportunity to bring, the companies who are innovating in Bay Area. And with due respect to Indian companies, I know India is building a foundational model. The real innovation currently is happening in the Bay Area. And what we do is we actually enable these partnerships on top of, the partnerships that you're talking about. So let's say, a company like 11 Labs, which is actually right at the top of voice AI. That's the kind of, integration that we like to have in Gujarat. So let's say, when there's a guy who's actually from Spain who wants to probably do an adventure tourism experience, we can actually have a language, which is conversational in his dialect, right? Because with due respect, when somebody is actually calling from overseas, chances are that probably you're not speaking in the same language and, your dialect is not understood. So how can we have that smooth integration? That's through these partnerships that we can enable. And with that, I think that's the summary.
Thank you. That truly is looking into the future. I'll close with just 4 points. No elaboration. If required, we can talk later. Uh, Training is truly important for adventure programs. Safety is managed through structured, managed safety guidelines, SOPs, checklists, and we need judgment safety. No matter what, it is the people on the ground who are taking judgment calls which directly affect safety of people, environment, etc. So training is truly important. In that context, I personally do not know the connection, but NSDC has qualification packs based on which tourism, hospitality, THSC has started creating manuals. So we need to tap into these resources. I think these are fantastic initiatives. Something that was not touched today and something that the ATOI guidelines point out is leave no trace principles. But the principles are principles universal. We need practices which are relevant to Gujarat or to specific areas. So this was not really touched upon today, but I wanted to emphasize that because people just say ki environment friendly and then kachra uthana hai, but I think we need to go much beyond that. Consumer awareness is truly important. So that's just a phrase that I wanted to park. And the nature of regulation, research says, should be enabling. It should enable rather than being burdensome. And then there are more dimensions to that, but I just thought I should mention this. Thank you so much. Panelists, thank you so much. And tourism department, thank you so much for having us here.
May I request MD sir to kindly come forward and felicitate all our panelists for having contributed significantly to this forum. The only thing that was coming to my mind whenever adventure tourism was being mentioned was Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, with all facets of, if we can please have the mementos and the patola shawls. Kindly stand and acknowledge. Can we please put our hands together? दिलों में तुम अपनी बेताबियाँ लेकर चल रहे हो तो जिंदा हो तुम, ख्वाबों में अगर बिजलियाँ लेकर चल रहे हो तो जिंदा हो तुम, हर एक लम्हे से तुम मिलो खोले अपनी बाहें, हर पल एक नया समा देखे ये निगाहें, जो आँखों में हैरानियाँ लेकर चल रहे हो तो जिंदा हो तुम, दिलों में तुम अपनी बेताबियाँ लेकर चल रहे हो तो जिंदा हो तुम. That essentially encapsulates the spirit of adventure tourism. There is a responsibility for safety and there is enthusiasm in the heart to experience what has not ever been experienced. It's an excellent perspective to balance both, and also I love the demarcation of the word industry and ecosystem, which is more sustainable. And this is the first time that I saw somebody carrying a Bansal surname with her turban as well. So again, and that gives an added advantage to accessorize. You can don more colors. Thank you so much, sir. Can we all pose together for a photo op here? Beautiful memories being etched in our minds forever and hearts forever. Thank you all. Thank you, the panelists. Thank you, the guests. On behalf of Vibrant Gujarat Forum, I'd just like to say, हंस के बोला करो, बुलाया करो, आपका घर है आया जाया करो. Please keep coming here. Once you come, you are our guest. The next time you come, you become our family. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you had an insightful session. We had a lot to learn and draw lessons from. Thanks so much. Until we see you next, thank you. Jai Hind. Jai Jai Garvi Gujarat.